Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Brooklyn Nets. I wouldn't even call it a beef. It's more of a misunderstanding. Whose side are you on? Because you had KD that he was on the Mind the Game pod with LeBron James and Steve Nash saying, hey, listen, Steve Nash, he doesn't blame Steve Nash because Steve Nash had his hands tied behind his back. He couldn't really coach because there was a whole bunch of, nonsense that was going on that was outside of their control. And we all know who KD was referring to, right? The elephant in the room, Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie clapped back and was like, yo, people can say whatever they want to say, but Kenny Atkinson didn't like me. I didn't want Steve Nash. KD wanted him. James Harden came there, and then KD wanted me gone because the whole Vax thing. And then James Harden axed out because he wanted me gone as well, and they wouldn't trade me. So, and then I have Nets fans that have said things about, oh well, yeah, we always blame Kyrie for the collapse of the team. I don't think that's fair.
I agree.
I don't think that's fair. I think Kyrie was who he was, right? Obviously, he definitely was very opinionated, and he's definitely a polarizing figure. But when you're talking about putting the reins of responsibility in a guy like Kevin Durant's hands, that's never been a leader, and you have him picking the coach, somebody you just picked him off the street. He's never coached before. He's never been in no coaching locker rooms. He's never been in no type of game planning for being a head coach, and you want him to coach your team. Then you had the depth that the Nets had. They had draft picks. They had all of these things. They had young players, and you go ahead and you siphon off all of those young players to go get James Harden, all because James Harden wouldn't be in Brooklyn. You wanted him too. So all of these things Kyrie didn't want. So Kyrie was like, all right, cool. Well, y'all gonna go ahead and do y'all thing. I'm gonna just be here. And then who ended up leaving first? Harden left. Then was it Kyrie that got traded after that? Yeah, or was it KD that got traded before that? Either way, I think it was all around KD got his deal, and then he left, and then Kyrie got traded. So I'm not Kyrie blaming anybody.
They were just trying to, keep him there, not keep him there, pay him, not pay him.
Yeah, I'm not blaming any one person for the destruction of the Brooklyn Nets, because I remember when that happened, I came on this show and I said, be careful what you wish for. If you want to go ahead and get this big three and have three guys that couldn't lead you out of a Macy's parking lot, this is what's going to happen. It's clear. You don't have any type of real leadership on that team, so who are you going to turn to be able to steer the ship when things go wrong? You can always go to Steve Nash. Steve Nash had that ability, but Steve Nash is not that type of leader. He led by example. He's now a head coach. It's a lot different of how his style of leadership is. So I always knew it wasn't going to work. But for somebody to blame one person over the other, everybody was culpable in the situation. Kyrie had his faults. He was wrong. KD made some terrible decisions. Steve Nash never really grew as a coach. James Harden was too immature, and he didn't have himself in great shape to be able to contribute to the team. And Sean Marks was a cuck. He just allowed things to happen, and he just stood there and watched. He had no backbone in regards to trying to put his foot down. He just allowed the inmates to run the asylum. So everybody's culpable. And Kenny Atkinson is culpable as well when he was there. So there's a lot of different things that transpired that everybody has a hand in messing up the situation. But it is what it is. What are we going to go ahead and try to rehash this for? That's my whole point. It's just come on now.